What is going on, guys? My name is Dave. Welcome to the channel. We have a doozy. This one's a little different. We're going to talk about saving money, investing money in long-term, and the chemicals of compounding. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. If you don't know already, I'm going to blow your mind. We already have quite a few people in the Discord. You can join our Discord. All you have to do is have a heart of gold and an open mind and a ready and willingness to learn. Just join the Discord. You can be a part of our family for absolutely $0. You want to talk about something that is a low price. $0 sounds almost free. Or is it? Anyway, guys, we're going to jump right into it. I hope you guys love it. Love it, baby. All right, we are back. We have plenty in the Discord. We have myself, David Worrell. What's going on? If it's your first time here, please hit that like and subscribe button if I bring you any type of education or entertainment. We also have the OGs in the building, B. Stewie, Erica, Holy Diver, Jimmy. We got Jolene, John Hammer, Norm, Zamora, and JP. What's going on, guys? It's good to see you. I gave a little background story. I'm just going to kind of go over it. You know, I kind of grew up without guidance. I did not know as a young man how to save, how to invest, how to do any of that. Didn't have a mom or a dad. I had grandparents that lived paycheck to paycheck. As a kid, I thought they were rich. Just like any good upbringing, you don't, as a kid, want to have to worry about money. But I remember, you know, my grandpa asking me, how much do you think I have in my account? You know, like, and I said, I don't know, $10,000? And he just laughed and he goes, no, I have enough to pay the bills. You know, that's why we don't go out to eat. That's why we don't do this. That's why we don't do that. Because, you know, my grandpa was the main breadwinner and, you know, we still live paycheck to paycheck. I didn't know that as a kid, you know. So I am very, very grateful to have grandparents to raise me. I'm very grateful that there was no fear of, you know, not being able to pay the bills or not. I've never went hungry. You know, so I honestly am so grateful for that. I'm not here whining or complaining, but if I could go back and talk to my 16, 19-year-old self, and I could give myself a better understanding of money in general, I would do exactly what we're going to talk about here. So if you guys have any questions, just unmute your mic and ask. Of course, this is my first time doing a video like this, so I hope y'all enjoy it. But the very first thing that I want to say is there is compound interest. Now, I did this. We messed around with it with my wife yesterday. Because, you know, we have a little one. We have a 2.5-year-old, and he is, you know, he's going to grow up a great life. He's going to grow up with a really great life, but he's not going to grow up thinking his parents are rich. So the very first thing I want to point out before we go over this is I looked this up, and I don't want you guys thinking I'm bragging or anything like that. I looked this up. I put in my net worth, my wife and I's net worth, and we are probably in around the top 5–10% of people, give or take, depending on, you know, the area. But, you know, we're doing very, very, very well. But if you've seen the car that I drive or the one that she drives, you wouldn't think so. If you've seen the house that we live in, I mean, it's a beautiful house. It's a very big house, and we have some land, but it's nothing over the top. It's nothing crazy. We're not sitting on golden toilets. And there's a reason for that, because before we start anything, you need to understand it's a lifestyle. If you want money, you cannot blow money. If you want to have money and feel comfortable, you cannot want these silly accessories like a $500 Gucci purse, or you have to spend, you know, thousands of dollars on a pair of shoes. I spend $200 on work boots because that gets me to work and I make money with those boots and they protect my toes and keep my feet warm. So I'm investing in making more money with those. Tools, I just spent $600 on tools and another $300, actually $400 on a toolbox, but those are gonna make me money. My first paycheck just brings me that in. So it's an investment. I'm not going out and buying a ton of clothes and trying to be showy and flashy, because why? Well, I could take that extra $100 instead of spending on a t-shirt and I could buy VTI. I could buy a share of that and let it compound and make more and more money to help better my future, just to make me more comfortable. And with that being said, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Dave, you only live once. Oh, you can't take it with you. No, you can't. You can't. But the same video games that you play and you focus on your kill to death and your high score, you can't take that with you either. I see money as a high score. I see money as a competition. How much can I save? How high can I get that number? I'm a nerd like that. I honestly love it. It gets me excited, and if you can't hear it in my voice, then just believe me, right? I'm getting goosebumps just talking about this. So when you learn and understand that it's all about lifestyle, then you have to rid yourself of trying to keep up with the Joneses. I don't care about this guy who lives in a $500,000 house next to me. I could care less. I'm happy he's there. I'm happy he's a great guy. He really is. He's a great neighbor. But the biggest issue is keeping up with the Joneses. You see him buy a new car or a new truck, you feel like you need to buy a new truck. It's that fear of missing out, right? That you all know and don't love, right? So, do me a favor, Jolene, get Teak God in here. He's asking in the general chat when. Just show him how to get in here, please. There you go, Teak God. He's in here now. So with that being said, without any further ado, we are going to get right into it, guys. We're going to start with the compound interest calculator. So I'll give you an example of what we're trying to do for my 2.5-year-old child. I'm going to show you just how simple this can be, and then we'll start expanding the numbers because it is fractal, but I don't want to say fractal because, you know, over time your compound starts to roll over. It starts to get bigger and better. So let's just say, so right now we have about $3,000 saved up for my child, okay? So our initial investment is going to be $3,000. And we decided that if we just put, let's say, $100 a month away for him, but let's just say on the safe side, something more conservative, $50 a month for him, and we want him to be ready to be able to buy either a vehicle or whatever he needs when he turns 18, when he's, you know, getting ready to leave the house. But I tell all my kids this: if you're working and you're saving, there's no reason to leave the house. You work, you save, then you buy your house cash, right? So we're just going to say, for the course of 16 years, okay? Because he's got, you know, he's 2.5 right now. So he's got a little less than 16 years, but we're going to say 16 years. And we're going to give the minimum amount of interest rate. We're just going to assume right now that we're buying the S&P 500, okay? And the S&P 500 on average with inflation usually gains between 6 and 11%. I've heard a lot of different numbers, 8 to 12%. I'm using the absolute lowest. Over the course of 16 years, we're going to average in 6% interest rate, okay? And as we do that, if we calculate this, we're going to look at this here, okay? If we were to just save that money, we're only going to make $12,000, okay? But if we put this in the S&P 500 in the stock market, that takes between 6 and 11%, our average would be close to double that. We're just going to say it's double because it's easier, right? Total contributions is $12,600 in a savings account, right? Where your future value at only 6% is $23,000, okay? Now you guys know I love to speculate. I love to swing trade. I love to gain those 20 and 30% gainers on our money. But I always tell you guys, it's so important to focus on a longer term account. That's why anytime I refer to the big boy account, I am talking specifically about my IRA, something I don't touch. The only thing I do is I call my financial advisor when I want to get in and when I want to get out. And I usually use the 21-day moving average for that. I've now changed it to the 50-day moving average for that. And with more understanding of the market, I almost don't even want to touch it because what's the point if I'm never going to get out, right? Of course, I could get out and I could do like I am now where I'm adding in 10% every time we hit a new low and we can make more money that way. But if I just don't want to think about it and just let it compound to that 6 to 11%, I'm not touching this thing until I retire. And I plan on retiring at 50 years old, okay? So with that being said, I can just let it go. I don't even have to think about it. It all depends on how you want to do it. Personally, I would say, why try to outbeat all the smartest competitors that are out there? Why do that? Why try to compete with the big college students that are out there that have focused all their intent and all their time on beating the S&P 500. I'm not going to try and beat the hedge funds. What I'm going to try and do is just let it sit, let it ride, and let it compound. Now, we're literally only talking about putting $50 a month away with a $3,000 initial investment for 16 years. And you can come out with this. And some people might say, well, yeah, that's 16 years. That's only $23,000. Well, if you didn't do this, you're going to blow it on candy, vacations, clothes. There's so much. There's so much that you could blow it on. It's fast food. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you in my drive here why my wife and I are so competitive and how we track our finances with this simple Google Sheets. We'll go over that in just a little bit. I'll throw it up here so I don't forget. Now, when it comes to this, you might say, well, I don't have that kind of money. I'm not able to do this, right? So where do we start? We have to start somewhere, right? And this is very small, right? This is something that you can do if you have paid off your house, if you don't have any debt, right? Because that's when you freed up your money. You have financial freedom. That's what everybody wants, right? Financial freedom. Another thing I always say is I don't have money because I don't spend money. Or I'm sorry, I don't have money. Am I saying this right? Bear with me here. Let me wet my whistle. I have money because I don't spend my money, right? That's why I have money. All my friends in the union around me were so broke. They were always so broke, and I never understood why. And they were living paycheck to paycheck, but they were bringing home $1,000 a week. I never understood it. And I remember a buddy of mine saying, we're all just living paycheck to paycheck here. And I just couldn't understand. I'm scratching my head. You make so much money, how you living paycheck to paycheck? And I think the biggest thing is because people are in debt and they keep looking for the next thing, and they think them buying something is going to help them feel better. So back to the lifestyle. You need to don't focus on your lifestyle. Focus on what you're buying and how to manage your money. And then that brings me to Dave Ramsey's baby steps. And if you guys aren't aware of Dave Ramsey's baby steps, I am a huge fan of Dave Ramsey. If you're a long-term investor, if you're looking at anything like that, I truly believe in Dave Ramsey. There's a few things that I'm not going to agree with. There might be a few things that you don't agree with. That's totally fine. It does not matter. When it comes to Dave Ramsey, he's helped out a ton of people, and I really like what he focuses on. So I'm just using ChatGPT here to get a very straightforward way. So we're just going to run through this really quick because I think everybody needs to focus on this before they really focus on trying to invest and compounding their future. So first and foremost, since the title says 16 and up, if I was 16-year-old, what would I do? The very first thing I would do is take everything from my paycheck, right? Pay your bills, and then take the other half and you put it in the S&P 500. Simple as that. I would use VOO. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't even take my advice. I could care less. But go back and look at the last 10 years. Act like you've put in that money the last 10 years. Do your own homework. You'll figure out really quick that you would be up a ton of money, okay? So if I could go back without anything, without knowing anything, if you just bought blindly and you spent half of your paycheck every single week or bi-weekly or monthly, whenever you get paid, and you bought the S&P 500, you would not be anywhere near where you would be if you didn't, okay? So with that being said, the first thing that you want to do if you do own a house and have children and have all these other things that most of us in this room do have, the first thing he says is have $1,000 for a starter emergency fund. The reason why this is because if you're focused on paying the rest of your debts off, if you're focused on getting your credit cards down or your house paid off, while you're doing that, you're literally throwing everything that you have at it. So this $1,000 is an emergency fund for literally an emergency. Your car breaks down, you have to get it fixed. You don't have food this week. You got to go buy your beans and your bread, right? This $1,000 emergency fund is if your heat goes out and you need to get it fixed. It's for a literal emergency, okay? So if you can set that $1,000 aside and truly be disciplined into not using that $1,000, you're already ahead of a majority of people. Trust me, I've looked this up. It's crazy how many people are just in debt up to their eyeballs and they have no cash whatsoever. So the first thing Dave Ramsey says is to set aside $1,000 as quickly as possible for your small emergencies. The next is pay off all debt except the house using the debt snowball. Now, this is what gets me excited because I remember doing this with my wife. When we first got married, I had a little bit of a debt and she didn't have any debt, which I thought was really cool. And she actually got me interested in all of this. This was 8 years ago, guys. She got me interested in doing this. She got me really excited. We sat down, we started writing everything out, and then all of a sudden my wind just got taken from my sail. I realized how long this was going to take and how hard it was going to be and how my lifestyle needed to change. And as the months went on, I started feeling a lot more alleviated because we started paying off my small debts first. We paid off my credit cards. We paid off, I had a couple of different credit cards from the divorce that I had taken on through the divorce. I had some medicals stuff where they were coming after me because I wouldn't pay it because why pay that? I'd rather use that to go chase women at the bar, and I'm very open and I'm being very honest. I was in bad spots looking for love 8 years ago. And I was blowing money to try and impress women, right? Same thing I did when I was 19 years old, when I was out looking for love in all the wrong places, right? We do this as men, right? You want to impress your friends. You don't want to be stuck inside bored when you see your friends on these vacations. You want to go out. You want to spend. You want to be flashy. You want to wear that new coat because you want to peacock. You want to stick your chest out and get the women, and you got to buy them their drinks. And you got to, I could go on and on. It sucks. That's why I say if I could go back, I would have a lot more money than I do now. So if you focus on paying off all those small debts first, you start to get that sense of alleviation. And it's fun, guys. I'm telling you, if you have, let's say you have $10,000 worth of debt. If you look at $10,000 worth of debt, you think to yourself, holy shit, how am I going to get myself out of this, right? And some people may be way, way more, but I'm just using a number. It's all fractal, right? But you look at this and you think, how am I going to pay this off? The best way to start, the absolute best way to start is start with the smallest and work your way up, okay? If you start with the smallest and then boom, you have a credit card that has a 22% interest rate and you pay that $200 off, you already get alleviated. And you know what the best feeling in the world is? Cutting that credit card up, okay? You cut that credit card up and then boom, you've already alleviated some issues. Now guess what? That $200 that you kept owing an extra $44 every month on because it had a 22% interest rate on it and yada, 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 I could go on and on. You don't have to worry about it anymore. It's done. Now let's focus on the next one. Now you have the next $2,000 credit card. That might take you a few months to pay off, but guess what? You keep hitting it, and now you have extra money. Now you have an extra $44 a month, and excuse me if I'm not a math whiz, I'm just throwing numbers out here. But now you have an extra portion of money to put towards that. You start paying off the small debts, you start attacking the larger debts, and next thing you know, you have a chunk of money. This is not the time to start buying that new Xbox or buying that new car or getting new rims for your car or getting a new pair of sneakers. It's far from that time. It's far from that time. That is when you start hitting the gas pedal. Once debt is paid off, roll its payments into the next smallest debt, work your way up. Next is save 3 to 6 months of expenses in fully funded emergency funds. So now we've paid off the debt. You've got your $1,000 saved up, you paid off your debt. Now it's saying save 3 to 6 months of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund. This is if you get sick. This is if your spouse gets sick. This is if your child gets sick. So help me God, if that ever happens. So blessed that none of my children are sick. If there's a tornado, you lose your job, anything. The 3 to 6 months of fully expensive funded emergency fund is amazing to have, because now you don't feel scared to lose your job. You don't feel like, what am I going to do if my car breaks down? That $1,000 is not going to buy you a working vehicle. Not anymore. It did when I was 16, 17, but fast forward 20 years later, you can't find a car on a lot for $1,000 that's not going to last you from here to your house, right? From where you bought it to your house. It's going to break down, right? You're looking at $4,000 or $5,000 at least. Your 3 to 6 months of fully funded expenses, your emergency fund, that's going to take care of that, right? It's actually going to be something that can actually handle an issue, okay? So you're trying to build that 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Now, personally, I don't fully agree with this. I like it. I like the idea of it, but I don't fully agree with this. I personally, what I did is I focused on my house. I did not get 3 to 6 months of fully expenses. I started focusing on my house on step 3. But I like this. I like what he's doing here. It's not that it's bad to do it. This is just not how I did it. I focused solely on my house. After I had my debt paid off, I said my house is my next piece of debt, and I am going to fully take care of that. So it was amazing, because I never stopped, guys. I never stopped. I've gotten away from it a little bit, where I'm buying some more snacks. I'm spending more money, on fast foods. I'm buying that extra gi for jiu-jitsu. So I did get away from it for a little bit, but now we're snapping right back into it, because I have big saving goals this year. So this 3 to 6 months of fully funded emergency funds is great. I think it's very important to do. Bigger emergencies like a job loss. Step 4, invest 15% of your household income in retirement. Now, if you already don't have a retirement fund started, you need to start right now. I don't give a shit how old you are, okay? If you're just going to collect Social Security, it's going to be really hard to cut it, and you're not guaranteed that Social Security. Nobody is guaranteed that Social Security. I'm not going to be one of those old timers that say it's not going to be there when you're there. It might not be, but I'm not going to act like one of those people that, doomers or whatever the hell they call them. Don't count on somebody else for your retirement, okay? I go into a lot of homes, and I see a lot of people that cannot afford to be retired, and it's sad to see, because the living conditions that these people live in, it's sad. And I don't want anybody that's listening to me right now to end up like that. So you need to put some away. Put some away and be happy that you did. This says invest 15% of your household income in retirement. Begin investing for retirement for contributing 15% of your gross income to retirement accounts like 401k or Roth IRA. Now, this is a huge one, guys. So like, if you have all your mini debts paid off, and you're working for a company that offers a 401k or a simple Roth IRA or a IRA of any sorts, the biggest thing, Jolene, can you get Jay in here, please? Just let him know where we're at. They're giving you free money. Free money. The company I work for right now is 3%. They're not a big company. It's okay. It's only 3%. The last company was 5%. I also opted into investing 18% of my account, right? 18% of whatever I made, my gross income, went right into a 401k, because they're going to not just match me 5%. I'm also accumulating. I'm compounding that money. So aside from wanting to be a swing trader and be a speculator and focus on all of these things to make money, what's going on, Jay? It's good to see you in here. Glad you can make it. Instead of focusing on all these things, I focus on that free money. I want to max out that, right? I want to make as much money as I possibly can because of compounding interest, right? And then on top of that, they're going to give me free money on top of that. Let's go, baby. That's what I want. So they said 15% of your gross income. I did 18, that, whatever. If you can afford 18, if you can afford 20, if you can afford 25, you do whatever it takes to max out that 401k. And one thing I want to look up just while I'm, how much can you contribute to a 401k in a year? So you're allowed to put in $23,000 in 1 year. The maximum amount you can contribute to a 401k is $23,000. You cannot put any more than that in there. Now, if you have the capabilities of putting $23,000 into a 401k account, congratulations to you. That's absolutely amazing. Do it. Do it. You will not regret it. Okay? If you can't, it's totally understandable. Try to at least do 15%. I don't care what age you are, but if you're 16, if you're 19, you're just getting a job started, take 15, take 18, take 25%. Don't allow yourself to get used to making that money. Don't. Just put it away, forget about it. Trust me on this, guys, and I'll show you the compound calculator again. Step 5. Now, this is going to make me sound kind of bad, guys. It's going to make me sound like a bad guy. It really is. I grew up with nothing. Like I told you guys right before we started the video, I didn't have a mother or father that really raised me up to show me the right ways to do things. I had grandparents that lived paycheck to paycheck. I didn't understand the meaning of a dollar, anything like that. I had to pay for to finish high school. I had to buy my own cars. You know, I'm not crying either. This made me who I am today. This made me where I am at today because of the hard times. Hard times make strong men, okay? And I'm doing the same for my children. I have told my children, and don't tell them, I'm kind of keeping it from them, but I'm telling my children, when I die, you're not going to get a dime of my money. You will not get any of my money. So don't count on daddy's retirement when I die. Don't count on me to buy you a vehicle. Their mom over there is saying, yeah, she's going to buy them a vehicle. And I'm like, don't put it in their heads. Don't put it in their heads, because now they're going to think, well, I don't have to worry about a car. Mom's going to give me a car. You know, I want my kids to grow up thinking that they are not to rely on anybody else but themselves. And when it comes to setting up an account like a 529 college savings plan for educational savings account, personally, I don't mind with it. I don't mind it. If you want to do it, go for it. Me personally, my kids are on their own. If they want to go to college, they're going to have to pay their way through. They're going to have to be really good at a sport or really, really smart to get into college to get free college. Or they're going to have to really focus on something that they love, that they have a passion for, and they can live here for free. Rent free, will they go to Monroe Community College or whatever college that they can drive to? But me personally, when you set up an account like this, I'm good on that. I'm good on that. That's not for me. That's not something I'm personally doing for my children. And you might hate on me. You might change my mind. But you know, I'm putting it out there, guys. It's just not something that I do. My children know that they're on their own just like I was, and they can make it in this world just like I have. That's just the way it is. And, you know, it might sound kind of bad, but I don't really care. That's just how I believe, but I'm always open and willing to learn. Swolzenberg, it's good to see you in here. If you can mute your mic, I would really appreciate it. We're recording right now, but it's good to see you. Okay, and now we're on to step 6. So step 6 is to pay off your home early. Now, like I said, guys, I did this on step 3. I focused and took all my money, every single ounce of my money. I mean, I was so pumped about this. So stinking pumped. I would do it every week. When I got my paycheck, I would put it in the account, and then I would say, how much do I need to survive? Let's go buy groceries, and let's make sure my bills are paid for this week, and I'm putting the rest on the house. And I kept hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. Why? Because they're taking 5% from me. They're taking 5% from me. Yes, we can argue with this. You know, you can't get a loan for that price now, yada, yada, yada. People had loans at 3.2%. Well, I was still holding on to a 5%. And I wouldn't even call in to get my my interest rate lowered to 3.5 or however low I could have gotten it, because they were going to charge me $2,000. I said, well, screw that. I'd rather take that $2,000 and put it on the house. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't refinance. I put more finances into that house. And I paid my house off at 33, let's see, I'm 36. Yeah, so 33 years old. I paid my house off, guys. And, you know, I'm blessed to be able to do that. I'm very grateful that I was able to do that, because it freed up so much money, so much time, and so much of a burden. You know how big of a burden is, especially with houses, the pricing that they're at right now. The rent is through the roof. And of course, I have nothing against renting. There's pros and cons to owning a house and pros and cons to renting. I like them both, but depending on where you're at, if you own a home or you want to own your home, try to pay it off as soon as you possibly can. Now, you can go through these same baby steps that Dave Ramsey goes through, but me personally, I used step 3 to pay off my home early. I didn't wait till step 6. Okay. Whether that's right or not, Dave Ramsey has a very specific plan. He's very popular. And if you follow these steps, you're going to be well off. But if you do it like I did, it's going to work out for you too. Just stay focused. That's the hardest part. And then of course, in 7 is build wealth and give. With no debt and your future secure, focusing on growing your wealth through investments and enjoying the ability to give generously. So I always talk about being a philanthropist. I have a dream one day that once I get to a certain undisclosed amount, I won't tell you guys what that undisclosed amount is, but I would love to build parks in really shitty areas, right? I know some really bad areas. I work in some really bad areas doing general maintenance, and I would really like to give back to my community by being a philanthropist and paying for things like parks, different things like that. That's really the main thing I want to do, is build like a 3-story park for kids to go play and hang out. And one of the cheapest things you can do with kids up until they're like 8 is you can take them to these parks. There's free parks everywhere. I found a ton of them when I was living in Georgia for that small amount of time. You could take them to these water parks, and everything was free. You got in for free. There's state parks. We have Sterling State Park here. That's a great place to go. There's just a bunch of parks for kids with playgrounds. There's 4 just in this area. So if you have kids, it's a free thing to go do. It gets them out of the house. It keeps them out of trouble. I really like parks. So one day that is my goal. Once I get to a certain amount in my swing trading account, I want to give it all back. I do. I want to give it all back, and I want to do it all kind of quietly, so nobody knows about it. So that's the baby steps. It says here the framework is designed to prioritize financial security, reduce risk, and help people achieve financial independence. And it really is. I tell you what, guys, if you haven't achieved all these baby steps, if you haven't made it here yet, I promise you, if you start it and you allow yourself to get addicted to doing it, you're never going to want to stop. The second you do and you start seeing your savings start to go down, and you realize, I'm not putting in nearly as much into my investments as I want to, you'll hop back on it. You will. And that's where this comes in. This thing, I'm putting it all on blast right here, guys. This is our bills right here. And they're so cheap. My gas and utility, $100, electric, $175, and that fluctuates. We're kind of doing the average. Water's $55, garbage $30. Actually, garbage is $50 now, so we'll have to change that. Internet, $83, phone, $60, insurance, $50. Insurance for the house is $50, insurance for car, $200. Jiu-jitsu, we pay $175 a month. YouTube, I was paying for YouTube Premium. Amazon, these are subscriptions. Groceries, we've allotted $600 a month, which, by the way, if you guys find the right things to buy, you can do this for much, much cheaper. Okay, much cheaper. So far for January, we've only spent $157 on groceries. We have allotted $600, and we're already on the 15th. Okay, so if we keep this up, we're going to be well under budget our groceries, but you don't want to ever under budget yourself for something. You want to give yourself a lot of leeway to be able to do this. All right, household items, $100, gas for the car. This I found out is much higher. We've already spent $200 on this. Property tax, this is monthly, so that way every 6 months when I get hit with this bill, I don't have to worry about it. And then this is what we're allowed to spend on random items. So I'll just show you what I've been spending my money on, these random items here. Here's January. And it is a little embarrassing. I did start a new job. But look at, this is what I spend my money on, guys. Propane, I bought some propane. Look at McDonald's, Pop, Pizza Pop. I bought 2 beers and some food, donuts, pizza, McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell. It's embarrassing. It really is. And I don't know. I only eat like once or twice a day, so I'm still losing weight. I know it's crazy. Maybe something's wrong with me. But seriously, guys, like I spend, that's where most of my money goes to, is fast food. Now I buy off the dollar menu. dollar menu, right? You buy one, get one for $1, double cheeseburgers at McDonald's. I'm addicted. I love it. And this is honestly, this is honestly what I do. So this is my $300 that I'm allotted for the month. Now, with that being said, I have spent $127 so far. My wife has only spent $113 so far. Okay. She went to a birthday party, had to buy a gift. We had swim lessons for our child. She spent with her own money $75. She bought donuts, pizza, and candy. So she's not eating fast food like I am, but this is a competition. This is what I love about it. This is our competition. I'm in blue, she's in pink. I've spent $127. She spent less than me. She spent $113. Okay. So with that being said, what we did now, and so we don't have to track it, we have our own separate debit cards where when the money comes out each week, once a month, the money comes out of a specific account where all of our money goes to, and we each get that $300 on the first of the month, okay? And if you don't spend it all, it carries over. So you can have your own mini savings in there. So that way if something big comes up or, you wanna go buy her a sneaky surprise, flowers and candy or whatever, she doesn't get to see it, but she gets to be surprised. So, but you have to save up for that. You have to make it something special. And with that same thing, you keep on this side all of your bills. So like gas for truck, gas for van, we're keeping an itemized list of everything that we have in here because it's necessary. If you don't know where your money is going, you're going to find out really quick. You have 30 subscriptions that you don't need to pay for anymore, right? I mean, we have 2 subscriptions and we pay for those and we use the hell out of them. So we're going to continue paying for those. So we put them in the budget. Okay. And you don't ever want to say, oh, well, I got a flat tire, I'm not going to put that on here. No, you have to put the tire on here because even those expenses start to add up. So you need to put everything on here. Insurance for the house, insurance for the car, property tax, Amazon, what I got paid for the 3 days I worked last week, what she got paid, side jobs. I did a side job for concrete. That was an extra $700. You got to put it all on here. So you make a little bit of money on the side while you're trading, while you're compounding, while you're doing all this stuff. It's going to make your trading a lot less stressful. And on top of that, if you're making money and you continue to make that money and know where your money goes to, you'll know how the extra money that you have, where you can put it, right? And then that brings me right back around to the interest calculator, okay? Let's say we don't start with an initial investment, but we now have freed up enough money and we're still putting money in our 401k. We're still making that free money, all right? Our company is still putting that free money away. If let's say my paychecks are around $900 a month. Let's just say $800 to make it easy. Let's say, and I only need $400 a week to pay all my bills and have plenty of other expenses. So we have $400 monthly contribution. And let's say, so I'm 36. Let's say I want to retire at 50. So let's say 14 more years and I put in $400 away. Estimated interest rate, we're going to use the absolute lowest of 6%, and we're just going to calculate that annually. So let's just say right now, I just decide, okay, right now I'm going to start putting $400 away every day into, let's just say the VOO, and we're going to assume it only is going to gain 6% every year. Just 6%, which is the bare minimum, okay? And as long as that's over 10 years, it actually is plausible. Okay, you always want to give the S&P 500 10 years to accumulate your 6% average. Okay. With that being said, on year 14, I would have contributed 67, but I would have over $100,000 in here. So that's an extra $100,000 that I get when I'm 50 years old that I get to just use for whatever. At that time, it'll be, hopefully grandbabies, when I'm 50. And I get to spend it on them because my house is already paid off. I'll already have cars that are, I'll never have a car payment, really. We pay cash for everything. With that being said, I still have money for myself because that's still $1,600 a month that I get with no bills, no debt, no nothing. And I'm still putting away for my future to retire. That's not to mention my 401ks that I have, my Roth IRA, my savings that I have, all the extra money. And then my wife also has, you know, pensions and stuff. So this is just what you can do, what you can figure out, and how you can live your life. But that's why I always say, if I could go back when I was 16 and start doing this, because if you can go back and let's say a minimum of 6%, and you do this from the time you're 16, let's see, that'd be what, 34? Yeah, 34 years. And let's just say you're only putting $100 away. Only $100 away a month for 34 years. Look at this. You're still going to have $125,000 in your account. And that is like bare minimum. $100 a month. $100 a month is like so dirt cheap. So dirt cheap. When you're getting ready to retire, you would have put away $40,000. You would make $125,000. And you still might not think that's a lot, but we're literally going on the bare minimum here. We're going on the smallest amount that you could possibly put in. And that's 6%. And that's $100 a month. Okay? That is so dirt cheap. And that's not counting, you know, what your 401k is going to be putting in, because they're going to add that other 5%, 3 to 5%. And that, you know, that's not calculating in. Now, what if I put $400 a month away, which I think is, I would say, more proper, okay, at 6%. Let's see what that would give us since we were 18. Now, look, that's looking a little better, right? $500,000. Now you got $500,000 to retire. That's a little better, right? You could live off this interest. You know, you could live off this interest. That's going to give you like around $40,000. Of course, guys, I'm not a math whiz. I'm not a math whiz on this one, but that's going to give you around $40,000 each year to live off of. In my opinion, that's still a decent salary because your house is paid off, your cars are paid off, everything's taken care of. Okay, so keep that in mind. And that's still using bare minimum. Let's use the maximum. Let's say 11% calculated on this interest. You're looking at 1.5 million. Okay, that's a little better, right? And your initial investment is 163,000. Now, this is the curve that I wanted to show you, because if this is investing right here, this is investing, this is not investing. Okay, this is saving your own money, but this is investing. This is what I mean by compounding that value. It goes up exponentially after a certain amount of years. Once you get a certain amount of money in there, it goes up exponentially, and it's beautiful. Okay, 163,000 to a 1.5 million. That's a huge contrast there. Okay. So do we have any questions? You guys have any questions for the Google Sheets or for the calculator?
Yeah, I got one. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up, man? It's good to see you in here.
So like going back to the like credit card debt and the snowball method of doing the payments to pay them off. I
Yeah.
had a couple of questions. I tried that one time and it just seemed like it was never gonna end.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the snowball didn't really get any better. Didn't really pick up traction.
Yeah.
So somebody recommended getting a large loan and then like pay them all off at once and then just
Sure.
have one payment. But when I went down that avenue, like exploring that option, I was like, well, you're gonna pay a crap load in interest for that one loan. Your method of like hammering away at your house in order to achieve like the financial freedom of not owning your house, where you just put extra and you paid so much down to get it out of the way. Would that method work in the in the scenario with the loan that I was specifically talking about? That would
Yeah,
that
sure.
would pay off that?
So my mom was
Okay.
stuck in a situation, and it sounds quite similar to this. So like you're talking about the snowball effect. Well, the first thing that we need to do is pay off our credit card debts, because your credit card debts are always going to be much higher in interest rate than your house, right? And now, of course, I always got to say this. I'm not a financial advisor, guys. I'm just a talking jockey on here, okay? But I have went through this. I do understand the feelings and the emotions of this, and I know exactly what you're talking about. My mother is going through the same thing right now. She called me and she asked me, hey, what do I do? I have 3 credit cards. 2 of them are at over 20% interest. They still have a great name, and what can we do? She said, Well, I can get a 7% interest rate on a loan right now. Would you advise me to going and getting this loan and paying off these credit cards? So I asked her, well, how much is on the credit cards? How quick can we pay those off rather than going that route? And it was a significant amount where, yes, it did make sense for her to do that. So that's exactly what she did. Now, refinancing your home, if you can't pay it off as quick as I was hammering it on, that's one thing. But if you still have credit card debt or car payments where you have a car loan debt, those are the things that you need to take care of first. So when it comes to the snowball effect, that's why we focus on the smallest thing first. If you focus on the smallest thing first, you're already getting some of that debt alleviation, and it already makes you feel good. So yes, I totally understand that, where it doesn't feel like it's doing anything. You feel like you're stuck. You don't feel like you're going anywhere. That's one thing. And the wife and I just talked about. We're like, my goal right now is to save $50,000. More realistically, this year for 2025, we're probably only going to save around $25,000, but I always try to overshoot. Okay. So with that being said, she's like, man, this whole first month just feels like we're just trying to get everything set up and ready to go. We haven't even really put anything away yet. And we probably won't be set up and ready to go until February, because then everything is going to be in line. So it's almost like we're working so hard to get everything set up and squared away so that way we can achieve our goal, but it doesn't feel like we're going anywhere right now. But we're always in the right direction if we're trying to get better every day. So when you ask that question, I would say, first of all, go talk to a financial advisor. That's the best thing that anybody can do. But if I'm going off of my own personal example, I would say my credit card debt wasn't high enough to want to go take a loan. I'd rather just pay it off, get it taken care of. But if you have a large amount where you can get a fixed loan interest rate, and that interest rate is lower than your credit cards, that makes sense to do. That makes sense to consolidate your debt to a smaller interest rate and then make those payments, not just make small payments, but make the biggest payments that you possibly can, and then live off of, what does Dave Ramsey say, rice and beans or something like that? I said beans and bread a little while ago. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that was great. I was just wondering what you thought about that, because I have a huge debt on some of the cards, and that's my smallest. That's my smallest. Like you said, pay the smallest thing off. That
Yeah.
is my smallest. That's the smallest thing that I owe the credit cards.
Okay.
So,
And
but
I know that you
I
you went to like 10 years worth of college too, didn't you? Do you still have some
y-
college debt if you don't mind me asking?
yeah, I got. I
You don't
want to
have to disclose.
say.
You don't have to disclose any numbers, but
Okay.
I totally
Yeah.
understand that. You're gonna feel like your head's underwater sometimes with these debts. But I can tell you right now, just from experience, credit card debt is hell because they can adjust your rates whenever they want. They have you by the balls, and you're literally paying somebody whatever you borrowed that money on, you're paying double, triple, quadruple for. So you have to get those paid off first. Take everything that you possibly can. Sell your kidney. Sell your motorcycle if you have one. Sell all your toys and throw it all on there. I mean, literally anything that you possibly can around you. Anything. It doesn't matter if you love it. Sell it. Get yourself out of debt, because that financial freedom is so much better than anything else. Like I said, it's a lifestyle. You have to really, really focus on your lifestyle. You cannot live like you're outside of your means. And if you're in debt, you're already living outside your means, literally. If you have to use a credit card, and I'm not drilling you, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole, but this is for anybody out there. If you have credit card debt and you're going out to eat still, if you have credit card debt and you're buying shoes not from Walmart, you're buying designer shoes, shoes that are more than 30 bucks a pair, then you're living outside your means. And I mean that. There's no reason why, if you have a credit card right now with an interest rate, right, you're living outside your means. You're borrowing somebody else's money so that way you can continue to live how you think that you should live. You don't deserve to live like that. Now I sound like Dave Ramsey, don't I?
Yeah.
But yeah,
No.
dude.
No. About. I'd say. No. I was just asking because about 2 years ago I did that. And I think that before I was doing that, that was a lot easier and faster and cleaner than doing the snowball effect, where it seemed like you know, you're in purgatory at the end of the line. The line never gets any smaller. I just went ahead and just paid most of them off. I still, that's my smallest debt. I still got a couple. I'm just too lazy to pay them off. Because I have about 25 credit cards,
Okay.
25 credit cards,
That's
and
that's ridiculous,
most of them
bro.
are paid off. I just kept applying for it because somebody would come up and say, "Hey, you want to apply for this?" And I was like, "Sure." And so now I got 25 credit cards.
Dude, no. That's what you say. You say, no, I don't want your credit cards. I don't want to be under your thumb. That's basically, that's somebody walking up to you and saying, hey, you want to owe me money the rest of your life? You know? I mean,
uh,
yeah, give me that
y-
piece of plastic. That's what I want, you know? And people will say this. People will say things like this. Oh, well, I'm trying to build my, help me out. What's it called? My credit score. I'm trying to build my credit score. What the hell? Like you don't need a credit score. If you own a house and you're paying on a loan for a house, you have a credit score. If you have a job, the bank will give you a loan. You don't need to worry about your credit score. You don't. I mean, people are so worried about their credit score, and these guys are so far in debt up their eyeballs. And they're like, yeah, but my credit score, I got an amazing credit score. Yeah, but you're in debt. You're in debt. Who cares about your credit score? You owe money. You know, a drop of a hat, you know, I could fix my roof tomorrow in cash right now if I want to. It might sound like I'm bragging because I am. I worked my ass off for this and I'm proud of it. I am so freaking proud of it, guys. And I want everybody to be financially free. So no E, I want you to pay off those credit cards. Start off with the smallest, start cutting them things up, lay them out on the table. You don't get to take them to
yeah,
work with you. You don't get to use them at all ever again. You lay them out from smallest to largest, put the scissors out on that table, and when you pay off the first one, I want you to cut it up and leave it sit there. That's going to be
oh,
your life goal right now, dude.
hey, I'm gonna send you a picture when I cut them up here in a little bit.
You
They're
promise me?
most,
No, no, no.
yeah,
You
most of them.
okay?
I
Go ahead.
promise. Most of them are paid up, are paid off. I still got like 5 left that I haven't really
Dude,
bothered
you
paying. So
seriously make my day. You make my day. You send me that picture in Messenger. I will celebrate with you, brother. All right?
I got you. But that's all
Hell
the
yeah.
questions I had. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome, dude. Thank you. That you always have great questions, and I appreciate you being here. Does anybody else have any questions, or even if you want to share your story, maybe a short blip of how you got out of debt, you know, or how you got in debt? I mean, anybody out there, speak up or forever hold your peace, because you know when I get to talking. All right, well, that's close to our hour. I just got to say, we had a few new people join. Jay, Kai. Kai's been here before, though, I think. But it's good to have you guys in here. I hope everybody got a little something out of this. And if you're watching this at a later time and you made it all the way to the end of the video, I want you to type in the comment section lasagna, because lasagna is delicious, but it sure is expensive. Maybe we should type shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie. You can feed your whole family making shepherd's pie. If you don't know what it is, it's mashed potatoes, it's corn, it's peas. It's the cheapest thing you could ever make, and it's healthy, and it gives all your vitamins to you, and it's like, I don't know, $5 to make maybe, and it'll feed your family for 2 days. Yeah, I do this. I'm real about this crap, guys. I love it. I hope you guys loved it, and I hope you guys had fun. Hit that like and subscribe. Join me for more. This is our first segment. Our first segment on this. And I don't know, maybe I'll talk to Dave Ramsey soon. We'll see. All right, guys. Have a good night. Love you. Bye.